Hello guys, welcome back to the Front Row Seats channel. So today we are starting a brand new series known as Physio Thursdays. So for myself, who is a sports science student and is looking to go on into a career sort of dealing with sports therapy, rehabilitation and sort of dealing with injured athletes on a daily basis, we thought it'd be really cool to kind of bring you guys a series where we kind of talk about the most recent sort of injury cases, if you like. One thing that I've noticed sort of forever really is that with like football injuries and just sporting injuries in general, we're never told sort of why is a really simple way to put it. We're always told sort of what the injury is and how long they're going to be out for, and that's probably it. Whereas a lot of people don't sort of understand like why that injury has occurred or why they're out for that long and what their rehab and treatment entails. So we thought it'd be a really cool way to kind of show you guys and talk to you guys about sort of the most recent injuries and kind of really dive deep so that you guys have a really good understanding on these injuries and why we see them. So with this being the first episode, we thought it'd be great to start with Atletico Madrid's young star, Joao Felix. So obviously only 20 years of age, really promising player, arguably one of Atletico Madrid's best players. And in a training program, I think it was just like a regular training session actually, he actually suffered from a medial collateral ligament tear on his left leg. So for short we'd call that an MCL tear. The MCL ligament is obviously one of the 4 ligaments of the knee, and that is actually the ligament that's located on the inside of the knee. It sort of kind of holds the knee in its position from the inside. So often sort of within football and other contact sports, any contact with like the outside of the knee or specifically like the thigh could be a challenge, could be sort of even something simple as going side on with a player and falling in a specific way. They're one of the most common causes of an MCL tear, because it puts like when you get that force on the outside of the knee, it creates that unnatural pull on the inside of the knee, and that's where the ligament itself tears. Another really common cause for MCL tears is sort of maybe impact with the ground. If you think about like the way you run and something like football where you've got really quick changes in direction, really dynamic movements, it could be something just as simple as getting your knee jarred in the floor in a certain way, and you maybe twist the knee in a sort of unnatural way, an unnatural movement. That can also cause tears in the MCL. So we're not 100% sure on how the injury has occurred. I've not found anything anyway, but the point is he does have what we would call a grade 1 MCL ligament tear. So grade 1, as a whole, ligament tears specifically with the MCL are grading 3, so you've got grade 1, grade 2 and grade 3. So in Joao's case, for example, he's only got a grade 1 tear, which means the ligament itself, there's less than 10% tear in the fibre, which essentially means that the ligament hasn't completely ruptured. He could arguably still walk on it. He'll most likely have a limp if he is walking, but it's not as severe of an injury as maybe someone with a grade 3 tear. If it was to be grade 3, that would essentially mean that the entire ligament is ruptured. The ligament is completely severed from the knee, and obviously at that point it's a much more serious injury. But luckily for Joao, it is only a grade 1 tear, so he'd have only maybe, well, obviously he would have been walking. Arguably he'll be walking with a limp. I've got a feeling that Atletico won't let him do much walking at all, but he will be able to slightly. He'll definitely have a lot of swelling through that knee as well. A lot of edema, a lot of pain, a lot of discomfort, purely because he has ripped part of that fibre. So it is still pretty serious. Anything that's sort of involving the knee is a really complex, the knee structure as a whole is very complex. So the last thing you want to do is start picking up injuries at a young career, especially through your knee. But obviously sometimes these things happen, and in a way, the way I see it is he's pretty lucky to get away with a grade 1 tear. So regarding sort of his treatment and stuff, the knee, as we've said, it's already a difficult part of the body to treat and manage. Obviously with it being a grade 1 tear, it's not as bad, and his treatment should go pretty smoothly, but a lot of the times with like these full ruptures that you see in grade 3, sometimes we need surgery to be involved. It can be a really long road of recovery in terms of rehab and getting that player back to where they were before. So for Joao, it's not too bad of a journey. With the grade 1 tear, we're looking at about 10 to 14 days recovery time. It could be longer, it could be less. That's just kind of a ballpark figure. But really, treatment will begin with focusing on really reducing the swelling and the pain. Because it's only a slight tear, there's no need to be performing surgery or anything like that. So initially it will be a case of getting rid of that pain, getting rid of that swelling. Chances are as well, the edema around, edema is like swelling, so all the swelling around the ligaments, or all the swelling around the inside of the knee, that will already cause a lot of pain and discomfort anyway. So as soon as Atletico Madrid as a like their physios, if you like, can get rid of that swelling, that's going to help a lot anyway. So to begin with, it will just be a lot of sort of icing the knee, rest. They'll not want him walking at all, even though he might be able to walk with a limp. They'll want him rested, leg elevated. Some medication as well, things like ibuprofen and aspirin, they work as anti-inflammatories. So again, getting that swelling down and gone is going to be key to getting rid of that pain. Obviously, once that pain has gone, it's a case of strengthening the knee and really sort of working in on sort of like balance and just getting him ready, getting that strength back in the knee. So they'll work with a lot of exercises that are sort of based around strengthening the knee. So we'll have a lot of lower limb exercises, specifically through like the thigh, so the quadriceps and the hamstring. They'll also look at getting range of motion back. Range of motion is key in a scenario like this, because if you can get both strength and range of motion back, you're going to prevent any imbalances. And if we do have any imbalances between the knee and the lower limb and the muscles around the knee, the entire sort of limb as a whole, the entire left leg is going to be, firstly, a lot more weaker than what it was, because he's not done anything for arguably 2 weeks, and it's going to be a lot more unstable as well. So rehab will really focus on range of motion and strength, really getting them to key aspects back through the knee and the muscles, and really getting his leg back into sort of a solid position as what it was prior to injury. So obviously, of course, it's nothing too serious. Atletico will be hoping to get him back as quickly as they can. It does cause a lot of complexity though. Obviously, 2 weeks off, you're already going to have a decrease in fitness and a decrease in strength and power through the legs, specifically the left leg. But you've also got this COVID pandemic as well, which is going to cause problems. Obviously, players' fitness is already going to be less than what it is, and in Joao's case, he's had to take an extra 2 weeks off as well. So Atletico really need to be careful how they go about this. Not only have they got to get the rehab right, not only have they got to get the strength and the range of motion back to an adequate level, but they've also got to be careful that they don't throw him in too early. If they do throw him in too early, not only is his fitness going to be bad, the strength might not be as good. he's not going to be used to playing back again, and it's only going to increase his susceptibility to injury. So they've got to be really careful when their season starts back up that they don't push it too much. But obviously it doesn't only cause problems for him as a player and physically cause problems for him, but it also causes problems for the team as well.
Thank you, Owen, for that breakdown of his injury. In this segment, I'm going to talk about why it's important for Joao Felix to get back on the pitch and how he's going to help Atletico Madrid go from 6th to 3rd. Let's first talk about Atletico Madrid this season. They've not had a great year, to be fair. I mean, they obviously did beat Liverpool in the Champions League, which was a fantastic result for them and a well-deserved result. But looking at La Liga only, that's all we're going to be looking at in this video. It's not been a great season for them. They're currently sixth in the league with 12 draws, which is really not good. But the thing that's a bit worrying is that they've only scored 31 goals this season, which is the worst in the top 9. And if you look at that, and then look at Joao Felix's numbers, who has only scored 4 goals and got 1 assist in 20 games, you can see why he has struggled in a team that is so defensive, but doesn't give him enough opportunity to score goals. I mean, you look at his touches inside the box this season in La Liga, he's only had 8 touches. 8 touches, which is ridiculous for a forward. Like, to score 4 goals, with only 8 touches in the box is pretty decent, but it's obviously the way that Atletico Madrid like to play. Everyone knows that, and they're very defensive and very counter-attacking, so opportunity is slim in the box, as you clearly tell with Joao Felix, obviously currently playing left forward in a 4-4-2 formation, but obviously they sit very back and like to really, let teams come at them and make them struggle, and then go get 1-0, 2-1 win victories. Like, they don't go out there and play attacking football. So you can see why Joao Felix has struggled to score. I mean, obviously a bit of it down to himself. I mean, he averages a goal contribution every 4 games, where XG has it every 2 games, so he's obviously underperforming his numbers according to XG, so he needs to improve on his ability to score and ability to assist. So he needs to improve them numbers to get up to XG, which will obviously help the team overall. But overall, Atletico Madrid will be buzzing to get him back in the team. Like Owen said, he should be back and fit due to his coronavirus break. In my eyes, he's a second best attacker. Yes, he's their 3rd top goal scorer, but he offers them a little bit more. He can dribble effectively, averages 0.9 dribbles against, basically a dribble per game. For an Atletico Madrid team that's so defensively, that is a very impressive number, even though it doesn't sound it compared to against elite numbers. The biggest key looking at last 10 games for Atletico Madrid is they're playing 7 of the last 10 teams below them. So this is a really good opportunity for Atletico Madrid to show, and maybe not be a bit more attacking, but get back to that 3rd spot. Obviously, only sit 2 points away from 3rd, so it's arguably easy to get, and probably will get 3rd. I think Joao Felix will be a big help in this. I think he's going to get another 4 goals, and maybe another 2 assists, which will really help the team push forward and hit that 3rd spot. But going forward, one thing they really need to work on is getting Joao Felix the ball in the box and getting him a few more touches in the opposition's box, because 8 touches all season is really not good enough. Black Owen made it very clear that they've got to make sure he's fit enough to play, because he will be such a crucial part of them finishing 3rd this season. Maybe, depending if Champions League does come back, pushing as far as they can in Champions League. So yeah, definitely watch out for Joao Felix. He's definitely one for the future. Maybe we can do another video in the future where we talk about whether Atletico Madrid was right moving for him. Only time will tell. But guys, that has been the first episode of Physio Thursday. We hope you enjoyed it. We've got one coming out every Thursday, different players. I'm going to talk about the injury. I'm going to talk about their effect and why they need to come back as fast as they can for the team. But if you're new around here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Like I said, if you did like the video, hit the like button. This has been another episode of Front Row Seats. Thank you for watching.